you are 40 or older and you're serious about aging well, there's one ingredient category that actually changes skin structure, but strength, irritation, and tolerance matter. Today I'm explaining exactly how retinoids work, so you can choose intelligently. In this episode of the biology of aging, we will cover what retinoids really do at the receptor level, retinol versus prescription differences, Retinal Retinoate explained, how long collagen remodeling actually takes, why irritation does not mean it's working, and how to layer retinoids with peptides, vitamin C, copper peptides, and acids, and which retinoid is best for 40-plus skin. Hi, I'm Dr. Linda Brand. I'm a medical doctor and I run my own aesthetic clinic. I test skincare devices and ingredients on mature skin every day. This is not personal medical advice. This is education based on science and clinical experience. Later, retinoid layering guide included. Retinoids plus peptides, copper peptides plus retinol, vitamin C plus retinoids. This video is part 1 of my 8-part mini-series, The Biology of Aging. Next episode we will look at NAD+, the energy molecule your skin is losing. Chapter 1. What is a retinoid? Why retinoids are different. Most skincare works at the surface of the skin. It hydrates, it exfoliates, it smooths. Retinoids don't. Retinoids change instructions inside your skin cells, and that difference is why irritation happens. We'll come back to that. They don't just polish the outer layer, they influence how skin behaves months from now. That's also why results take time. But here's something most people don't realize. Not all vitamin A molecules behave the same way once they enter your skin. Some barely signal, some signal strongly, and some bind almost immediately. That difference determines strength and tolerance, and we'll break down that ladder shortly. But first, you need to see where this signaling actually happens, because it's not on the surface of the skin where they act. Retinoids do not work at the surface. They work in the nucleus. Inside each skin cell is a control center, the nucleus. Inside that nucleus are receptors. Think of them as docking stations. They're called retinoic acid receptors. And we have RAR-alpha, RAR-beta, RAR-gamma. In skin, RAR-gamma dominates. That detail becomes important later when we compare molecules. When retinoic acid binds to these receptors, a complex forms. That complex attaches directly to DNA, not near DNA, directly to it. And that's where most misunderstandings about retinoids begin. Because this is not exfoliation, it's instruction rewriting. So what exactly changes when those instructions shift? How that changes the skin. When retinoic acid binds to its receptor, certain genes are turned on, others are turned off. That process is called transcription. It simply means the cell is told what to produce, and that changes. Collagen production, pigment regulation, cell turnover, barrier proteins, enzyme activity. Retinoids increase collagen synthesis. They also reduce MMP activity, that's the enzyme that breaks collagen down. So you're not just building collagen, you're protecting it. That dual effect is one reason prescription retinoids remain the gold standard. But here's the catch. All of this depends on how efficiently your product becomes retinoic acid. And some forms struggle to get there, which is why understanding the retinoid ladder changes how you choose. So let's build that ladder now. Chapter 2, the retinoid ladder. Now that you understand where retinoids work, let's talk about how different forms get there. Because not all retinoids arrive at the nucleus equally, some take multiple steps. Some take one, and one form skips the line entirely. That difference determines strength, speed, and irritation potential. We'll also address one form that's currently heavily marketed, Retinal Retinoate, and where it really fits. Retinol esters, retinol palmitate, retinol acetate, retinol propionate. These are storage forms. They require 3 enzymatic conversions, from retinol ester to retinol to retinal and then to retinoic acid. Each step depends on enzyme activity, and enzyme efficiency varies with age, U damage, oxidative stress. So retinol esters are not useless, they're inefficient. Gentle slow, and has a low remodeling impact. Retinol. Retinol requires 2 steps, from retinol to retinal, and from retinal to retinoic acid. It's the most studied cosmetic retinoid, and it works, but it is conversion dependent, and enzymatic conversion is not identical across individuals, which is why one person thrives on 0.5% and another struggles with 1%. Retinol is indirect but powerful. Retinal or retinaldehyde. Retinal is one step away. More efficient, more predictable, less enzymatic bottleneck. This is why retinol is increasingly favored in mature skin. As skin ages, conversion efficiency may decline, repair signaling slows. Retinol reduces reliance on multiple steps. For many 40+ skin types, it's a sweet spot. Chapter 3. Retinyl Retinoate. HPR Prescription Retinoids. Retinyl Retinoate is structurally unique. It is an ester formed between retinol and retinoic acid. That hybrid structure gives it improved photostability, potentially more efficient signaling than retinol. Small clinical trials show greater wrinkle reduction compared to retinol. It has good tolerability, but important nuance, it is not pure retinoic acid. It still requires metabolic processing. It likely sits between retinol and prescription strength. Stronger than retinol, gentler than tretinoin. So it's promising, but with a smaller evidence base than prescription retinoids. HPR, hydroxyphenolone retinate. It's often marketed as gram-active retinoid. I'm sure you've seen that. It's believed to bind retinoid receptors without full conversion. It's stable, often well tolerated, but receptor binding theory is not the same as decades of histologic data. Independent long-term trials are still limited. Prescription retinoids. Tretinoin is retinoic acid. No conversion, direct receptor binding, decades of evidence show. Increased collagen, reduced MMP activity, improved dermal thickness. It's stronger, faster, more irritating. They are pharmacologic agents, not cosmetic support molecules. All retinoids aim to reach the same endpoint, retinoic acid signaling in the nucleus. The difference is efficiency, conversion, receptor affinity, stability, vehicle, tolerance, and tolerance often determines long-term success. Chapter 4. Collagen Timeline. Clinical data shows epidermal changes within weeks, collagen remodeling at 3 to 6 months, and continued improvement up to 12 months. So retinoids are long-term ingredients. If someone quits at week 4, they will never reach dermal remodeling. So consistency beats aggression. Chapter 5. Why irritation happens. Retinoid irritation occurs because epidermal turnover accelerates, barrier lipids temporarily destabilize, and this again temporarily increases TEWL, trans-epidermal water loss, meaning more water escapes the skin and triggers mild inflammation. But with consistent use, barrier lipid synthesis increases, tolerance develops, inflammatory signaling decreases, and this is accommodation. Irritation does not equal effectiveness, and chronic and controlled irritation can impair collagen signaling. Which brings us to layering. Chapter 6. Layering Blueprint. And this is where confusion explodes online. Let's simplify it. Layering problems are rarely chemical. They're usually irritation stacking. So we have retinol versus prescription. Layering differences, the stronger the retinoid, the more careful you are with acids. Not because they deactivate each other, because irritation accumulates. Retinol is more forgiving. Retinol equals moderate caution, and prescription is strategic barrier support essential. Peptides plus retinoids. No conflict. Peptides signal repair. Retinoids activate transcription. They actually complement each other. Layer retinoid first, peptides after, or peptides in the morning. Copper peptides plus retinoids, no strong human evidence that they cancel each other. The concern is theoretical oxidation. Real-world issue is irritation stacking. Sensitive skin? Alternate nights. Resilient skin? You can layer. But monitor barrier, not internet fear. Growth factors plus retinoids. different pathways. Growth factors signal fibroblasts. Retinoids increase collagen transcription. They are compatible. Apply growth factors to clean dry skin, then retinoid. Or separate AM/PM. Vitamin C plus retinoids. They do not deactivate each other. Old pH myths are outdated, but both can stimulate activity. Most people tolerate vitamin C in the morning, retinoid at night. That's comfort, not chemistry panic. AHAs and BHAs plus retinoids. This is where caution matters. Not incompatibility, barrier overload. Alternate nights. Strong skin builds collagen better than inflamed skin. Chapter 7. Best retinoid for mature skin. Mature skin often has slower repair, reduced enzymatic conversion, and increased sensitivity. Retinol or Retinyl Retinoate often outperform weak esters. Prescription is powerful, but sustainability matters. The best retinoid is the strongest one you can use for 6 to 12 months without chronic irritation. And remember, remodeling requires time. Chapter 8. Medicate r-Retinoate versus classic retinol. Classic retinol. It's a two-step conversion, large evidence base, and it's reliable. Retinal Retinoate, it's a hybrid molecule. It's more stable, slightly stronger signaling than retinol. Still cosmetic, not prescription. I would say it's best for someone who outgrew basic retinol but doesn't tolerate tretinoin. Chapter 9. Retinoids and aging biology. Retinoids target gene expression, collagen production, epidermal renewal. They do not directly address energy decline, glycation. Aging is multi-pathway. Retinoids are foundational, but not complete. And next week, we're moving from structure to energy. Because if your skin still feels less resilient even while using retinoids, energy may be the missing piece. See you next week in NAD+, the energy molecule your skin is losing. See you then.